Hello everyone, you're welcome to Entertainment and Trends right here on the News God. If you don't know me, never seen my face, my name is Nelson Kofi and it's nice to see you for the first time. Come on, subscribe, like, share this comment to your friends, bring them on board to the News God and let's have a party. Okay, so what we do here on the Entertainment and Trends show is that we discuss entertainment topics, entertainment gossips that have occurred within the week, and then we package it nicely with a bit of sass and pizzazz from me, your host Nelson Kofi, and bring it to you on the weekend. So the stories I have here are pretty interesting and I'd like to do them with you, but of course with your interaction. So I'd encourage you to like, share, subscribe, do everything that's over there with the buttons, okay? It's for you. So comments, like, subscribe, share to your friends, let them come on board, okay? So the very first story that we're going to be talking about today is basically anything after the TGMA 26. We know that King Promise has been adjudged the Artist of the Year for the year 2025, right? But then let's get into a few things that happened later or even during the TGMAs, right? I know that it's passed, but not really passed because we haven't talked about it. So why don't we chime in our 2 cents about this issue? So first of all, what do you think about the general organization and execution of this year's TGMA? I'll give you my opinion. Honestly, I was expecting way too much. But can you blame me? With the way these organizers came on board talking about the elevation and everything that has been put in place to make sure this year's experience is, out the rooftop. But I feel like last year's experience was even better than this year. Let's talk about red carpet. It wasn't bad, but I remember that somebody came to say that this year, strictly by invitation. So strictly by invitation, we still saw those horrible outfits on the red carpet. Yes, horrible, because we saw really horrible outfits. So what do you mean strictly by invitation? And some people who were strictly invited to pulled up looking sorry. Huh? So what are we talking about elevation? In my opinion, last year's TGMA was better than this, and that's just what I think. But then what do you think? I'd like to hear from you. Not just the red carpet, the performances, the general, the sound systems messing up here and there. For me, if I were to rate this, I'll just say it was a meh. It wasn't okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was just in the middle somewhere, like meh. But that's not what I even wanted to talk about. That was just a little bit of a digression. Now, Artist of the Year, King Promise, after all the hula baloo, finally, they've adjudged King Promise Artist of the Year. But it makes sense, right? Who else would they have gone to? I don't see King Paluta taking it. Although I was rooting for him, but that was just me being, I didn't know the facts. But when I checked the facts and I saw the numbers, no, this shouldn't have gone to anybody else but King Promise. So well deserved. Nobody else could have taken it, and that's just facts. Now let's talk about a few things that happened. And one thing that I considered so unnecessary. Okay, so after he was adjudged the reigning Artist of the Year and congratulatory messages were pouring in from here and there, then came Stonebwoy's message as well. It didn't have to be so condescending. And yes, I say condescending because that's how I read it to be. Can we put that up on the screen? It was very uncalled for. What are you trying to suggest with that? That, oh, this is a newbie and I'm ahead of him. No, that wasn't necessary. Stonebwoy, you're already a legend. But if you meant it in good faith and in good heart that, oh, you're welcome to but that was still not necessary. That was condescending, if you ask me. But you know one thing I liked about that whole situation? The way King Promise paid him dust. That's how we do it. For me, that is how celebrities are supposed to live. Like, pay them dust. Y'all don't follow Beyonce. She don't be saying nothing. Look, pay them dust. And I think that's what King Promise did. And I liked it so much. Like, you're not about to go back and forth. You just want Artist of the Year. Okay? So then he goes on to a show at Hits FM. He was asked about the whole thing of whether he saw the message and everything. He was like, it's like I saw it and he said, Charlie, that is how you pay them dust, make them feel like they're non-factor. Oh, not to say that Stonebwoy is non-factor. I'm just saying generally, if somebody trying to have a back and forth with you, pay them dust. And I think that should be our motto for the rest of the year. Pay them dust. any type of negativity trying to, come towards you, pay it dust. Right? Yes. Pay them dust. Absolutely. Okay, now moving to our next story, and this is quite a sensitive one. So we're going to try as much as possible to be sympathetic and sensitive to the issue, because I think it's a really sensitive one, right? It has to do with somebody's looks, and Charlie, let's try to be sensitive. So earlier this month, we all, or probably you didn't see, but we've seen a video of Kofi Mole seemingly looking different, if I should put it that way. He just appeared different, probably because we've not seen him in a long time. I don't know, that could contribute to it. But then, yes, we can all establish and agree to the fact that Kofi Mole seemed to look different some one way or the other. And that, it called for concerns, people were questioning, and this one guy, Bongo Ideas, you are coming to allude it to drug abuse. What if it's something else? What if it's depression? What if it's, God forbid, sickness? What if it's something, aging, something? But then Bongo Ideas had to come and say that Kofi Mole say no to drugs. Like, how shady of you, how insensitive of you. And this is what I'm talking about, that pay them dust. But sometimes when you're paying them dust, you throw the dust in their eyes. And I feel like this is what Kofi Mole has done, and he has done it so well. He did not say a word. He did not lift a finger. The next thing we saw, his lawyers have sent a cease and desist to Bongo Ideas. And in that letter, he is supposed to issue an 8-week-long apology to Kofi Mole. Now, when have we ever seen that? That is history while paying somebody dust. That is how I like my celebrities to be responding to stuff thrown at them. Do not respond, but respond. Yeah, exactly. So on the 13th of May, Bongo Ideas on his official Twitter account, the current one, that has about 72,000 followers, issued a public apology to Kofi Mole. And it was, it seemed pretty sincere. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is this going to prevent him from further speaking ill on somebody else, another celebrity, or he's just going to go on that tangent? But for real, I understand that this is social media, but there are certain things that we can be considerate and sensitive to. No go they talk anyhow. Let's take it to pidgin. No go they talk anyhow. I remember Chadwick Boseman, the time he was battling cancer, and he started looking thin, and everybody was coming for him, not knowing he was suffering something in the dark, silently, and you didn't know about that, but you were quick to say, you are looking thin now, what's going on with you? We can be considerate, can we? And that's what they are doing to Akwaba too. Oh, this week too, Akwaba has also been trending because of his new looks, I don't know, but Charlie, and so I'm sure he sees himself in the mirror, and if he doesn't have a problem with it, why do you? If you think it's not scary, but like, oh my God. If you think, no, this is not for you, you can simply scroll away. Let's be sensitive. That's the whole point of all this, okay? Now, another thing that has been trending so much over the weeks, and probably since the start of 2025, is the issue of data prices, okay? Netizens, ex-users are saying that we cannot anymore. And I'm part of them, so let me just include myself. Data is just too expensive these days. And one person that has been very vocal about this data prices has been Samuel Nate George. Within the past year or the past few years, when he was in opposition, or his party or the NDC was in opposition, he's one person that seemed to be very vocal against the tactics used by the previous administration, or in particular the Minister for Communications, Ursula Owusu, how she was handling the data issues. He was pretty vocal on those things. So now that the mandate has been entrusted to him, people were sort of expecting results in quickness, and that is not happening, and it's frustrating people. And at this point, people are even calling for his dismissal. And I think that is just really crazy, because he's been in power he's been in office for barely 5 months. This is his 5th month, right? And you're expecting him to, just solve the problem all within this 5 months. At least I think we saw a committee being set up to look at this issue. And I just feel like the only problem with this whole thing is his silence on the matter for the past few days. Because people are clearly agitated. People want answers. And then he's gone, shh, like he's gone mute. He's not saying nothing. He's not saying anything. Zilch, nada. Like, at least come out and say, this is the point we've gotten to. You know? So in that tangent, I feel like that is what's worrying people. But I feel like even if he comes to say something, people are going to say something. So maybe this all comes back to the point of pay them dust. But you can't be paying us dust because you're a public server. So this doesn't apply to you. So data is expensive. So Sam George, how will we solve it? I'm sure people liked how you were very vocal about the issue when you are not in power, when you're in opposition. So now that you're in power, come and be vocal as well. I mean, it's only fair, right? It'll be so interesting to see that data prices have reduced reasonably. Like, we'd all be happy. So that's just what we're all looking for. I don't think it's a matter of people coming for him. People just want to see things done and quickly and immediately. That's just what it is. I hate that this thing has turned into something very tensious, like somebody would say. I don't think that's a word. Tensious is not a word, but I'm just using it to describe the atmosphere. But it's a trend, so we'll talk about it. So I think we've spoken enough about that. If we've not, please let us know in the comments what you think we left out or what you think I left out. Let me know in the comments. But data, are you affording your data? Can you afford it? Is it easy? Like, are you eating when you buy data? Can you eat? Because some people sacrifice food to buy data. So let me know in the comments how it's looking like for you, okay? But then if you're one of those people sacrificing food for data, my heart goes out to you. That's quite unfortunate. Okay. Get off the internet and get something to eat. Let's get on to the next trend. And so we're traveling outside the borders of Ghana at this point, okay? And this is a case that is still pretty much fresh in court. So I'm not sure we're going to talk exhaustively on it. And you're not going to see my sentiments too much about it because it's still fresh in court. It's still in court. But then it's still something outside the borders of Ghana. So probably we'll talk about it quite extensively. But let's just see what will happen. So it's the whole Diddy case. And let me tell you, this whole week has been a crazy week for black men. I'm talking about the African-American ones. One, we've heard about Chris Brown getting arrested for allegedly smashing a bottle against one producer's head. We heard that Tory Lanez, who allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion, he had been stabbed in prison somewhere. Now Diddy G is being accused of allegedly abusing his girlfriend Halle, or ex-girlfriend Halle, and the whole Diddy trial. Oh Lord, this is too much for me. This is too much. Like, how much can a fella take? So let me just lay out the facts of the Diddy G case to you. And I want to be as precise as possible because this is legal matters, right? So I don't want to leave out anything and just mix it up with emotion. So let me just read subtly what he's been charged with. So the Sean Diddy Combs case involves serious allegations against the hip-hop mogul, who faces federal charges of racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. And I'm sure a lot of people know this Diddy case as, 1,000 bottles of baby oil, but it goes beyond that. There's a witness, the first witness actually, who had been called to the case, and her testimonies are just straight out heart-wrenching, especially for a woman. Allegedly, Diddy had subjected this woman called Cassie to sexual abuse, physical abuse, doing things that they like to call freak-offs, like just doing nasty things in bed, all in the name of freak-offs. And my question is, honestly, if I were like the prosecutor or whatever, I'd be like, Diddy, how freaky can you get? Like, no, this is too serious to laugh. But like, honestly, how freaky can you get? Pardon me if I come off as obnoxious with what I'm about to say, but like, how can you tell me like you want to see your girl getting spit on, getting urinated on, how does that turn you on? And I understand fantasies, but this is just straight disgusting. To subject somebody's daughter to this, no, okay, it's like my sentiments are coming, but let me just tone it down so that, you know, it just doesn't come off too hyper. For you to subject somebody's daughter to this, and you have children, you have daughters, this is just not, it's like I'm taking the girl's side. No. So that's what's happening. Let's just put it out like that. So the case is still in trial. The testimonies are coming in. But how it's looking like, it's not looking good for both sides because, first of all, Cassie's family, she's heavily pregnant, reportedly 8 months and a few weeks, so she could literally give birth any moment from now, probably in court, while answering the questions. So she's pregnant heavy, and then having to go through these trials. And I am no saint. God knows that. I know that. But I feel like we can all take a little lesson from this, especially the youth. It is very important what we do within this ages that we're in, especially if in your late teenage days or years or your early 20s or even whatever age you're at. Like, you should be careful what you do, because imagine 10 years from now you're getting haunted by stuff that you did in the past. And you know, allegedly Cassie was suicidal at a point, wanted to, you know, get run over by a car, all these things, because the things are really nasty. Diddy, the case, whether he gets off innocent or proven innocent, I feel like his public reputation, at least in my eyes, has been, you know, completely rubbished. Not that I even had any respect for him in the first place. I just didn't care for the man. I knew him, I knew Diddy, I knew Puff Diddy, but I just didn't care for him. But with this issue, it's just like, no, bad. And this begs the question, which other artists are going through this? Like, can we talk about it? Probably the artists we see smiling in our faces today are going through something terrible behind closed doors and we don't know it. So let's look at our artists and, you know, give them grace. Something that Diddy never gave Cassie. I said I won't be sentimental, so let's keep it on the low like that. It's just really unfortunate that something like this has to happen for both parties, because Diddy's family is obviously distraught. Her children, her mother, you know. So let's give them grace and let's just let the law do its thing. Let's wait for the law to do its thing. Let's know what they've come out with. Let's see what the jury have decided. Let's see what the judges will decide. Then we can also throw in whatever we feel out there in the public. But it's just really nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. Okay, so this has been Entertainment and Trends with me, Nelson Kofi. This has been a rather long one. Yeah, I'm sure you're behind your screen, sweaty and all, but you know, it's all for the gossips, and it's fine. It's the weekend. Where are you going? Nowhere. So it's cool. Let me know what you think about all the stories. Whatever you want to tell me, let me know in the comments, and let's have an interaction or a discussion. Like I said, my name is Nelson Kofi. This is the News God. Thank you for watching.